thought things couldn't get any wilder, but this is all too real on reality TV. Jim's family drama had a significant twist that could only be imagined. You expected a response after all of the back and forth, but when you assumed that the Jones family couldn't be this time, a son is involved, in a circumstance so awful that not even Mama Scott Young could have predicted it. Don't be surprised anymore. You won't believe what has been discovered. What does his arrest mean for the love and hip-hop brand as a whole, given the most recent development? Is it a poorly executed marketing campaign? Or are we witnessing something more significant, a sharp reduction in viewing that may shake the entire reality television sector? Jim Jones's kid has just set the stage. Listen to one of the most incredible scandals in hip-hop and love history. Be careful, because what you're going to hear will make you question about everything. Prepare yourself for what will happen if you presume that the family was only interested in music and reality TV drama. Jim Jones, known for his bombastic public persona, is now grappling with the implications of a legacy he constructed for his kid, who has recently pushed. Consider this as taking the tragedy to a new level. Jim's son is eager to go beyond the shadow of his notorious father's reputation, but he becomes involved in a Jim Jones' son's incarceration for illegal substances, a tense run-in with the law, the headline in hip-hop, yet again with a quarrel so terrible that it could wreck everything. It's the real thing, not just a narrative, because everyone is already watching Jim Jones's son's every action, and he is not just another reality star. Let's consider for a moment how severe his predicament is, whether it was his gritty street demeanor or his extremely loud and visible acts. Jim Jones has always been the kind to push boundaries. To be clear, he isn't the only one who's been feeling that way. He is the one who opened discussions and got into fights, created enemies, and proudly flew the flag of debate. Yet it looks that Jim's child, whom he surely wanted to protect from the mayhem, has thrown himself headlong into the same situation. The fact is more dreadful than anyone could have guessed, as expected. Let's wait for a moment. Jim's child was having a terrific time a few weeks ago, and he was working on Instagram. He defined himself and appeared to have everything together. Climbed above the shadow of his father's notoriety. People were actually starting to support him, but as we all know all too well, things don't always go as planned. It appears that the same young man is now facing criminal accusations, and believe me, when I say that this is not a minor arrest, the controversy has been spilled, chaotic, and it's the type of story that will lead you to reevaluate everything, expectations you had about this family. So let us talk about the details. Insiders said that Jim's child has been growing overly reliant on his new reality. Television was a horrible disaster. To make matters worse, he allegedly used his father's name to conceal his. There were some really questionable transactions that no one could have predicted, things like drug use and possibly some questionable financial deals, and a crazy night out that escalated into something much more sinister than anyone could have imagined. It began disseminating beliefs that Jim's youngster had committed some type of crime, and not just the kind you get away with, and that this wasn't an accident but rather a determined action. The police data from that evening that were disclosed. Jim has a child caught red-handed in this situation, and we're seeing some severe disclosures that will leave you in a state of shock should never be made. Furious quarrel between a reality TV personality and cops that is caught on video. But the drama doesn't stop there. Reports suggest that when police attempted to calm him down, but the situation reportedly deteriorated. The boy allegedly began shouting profanities and demanding preferential treatment, therapeutic therapy, and using his father's name to escape from prison. For free, it looked like a scene from a bogus reality TV program, but it was true. Officials also discovered illegal substances in his proximity, resulting in severe difficulty. No one expected this, and no one trusted Jim's son. To be honest, it is hard to grasp Jim Jones, but here we are, trying to make sense of what happened while everyone else was absorbed in. Something this significant is expected to be a legend and success figure for his child to look up to. But Jim has always walked the fine line between as a bad lad and a straight-up troublemaker. What stunned fans air all over the internet. But let's be honest, they're also enjoying the drama. Since that's what we're talking about these days for his son, it could be worse. hate that the turmoil is coming from someone they thought might have made a difference, but they are enjoying it, and it appears that we are. Powerless to stop ourselves, do you want to see these prominent people become part? History in front of millions of people. Jim Jones's. According to an unnamed source, Jim's son attempted to exploit his father's popularity as leverage, claiming that he could avoid incarceration because of his father's reputation. Other members of the hip-hop culture also came to watch the huge stakes. Drama and social media instantly burst with first-hand stories as he supposedly went on. Do you know who my father is? You could practically feel hatred in his discussion about hubris. I can't die like this. Perhaps it was just the arrogance that comes with being raised in an environment where norms are not. But what does Jim Jones think of all this? What influence do the murmurs have? Speculations and street chatter have an impact on his reputation and professional legacy. Assume that Jim Jones's most devoted followers are beginning to wonder whether his son is just following in his footsteps because things aren't doing well pursuing his father's route, or is this an instance of generational failure? In any instance, the child inherits his father's flaws. Repercussions are unavoidable and will intensify before improving. The fact that this arrest occurred during a season of romance and hip-hop only heightened the program's designers' sentiments. They immediately considered publishing. They issued a statement apologizing for the incident, but declined to answer whether this would alter the drama of the next season of the show, for which they were unprepared. For this degree of turbulence, the show's ratings will almost certainly grow. But at what cost? Show insiders allege that producers are currently rushing to figure out how to incorporate this stunning information into excellent screenplay. There is no doubt that this tragedy will play a crucial role in future episodes, yet everyone is concerned. Consider how this may influence the other cast members. Is this Jim's redemption story, or will his child be the next antagonist in the show? What does this mean for Jim Jones personally? Even though the producers are aware of the precarious situation and are expecting, even if the claims against him are false, it is evident that his reputation is at risk if his son proves to be unsubstantiated or overblown. The harm to the family's reputation has already occurred. Jim has been the hip-hop has been a horrible person throughout his career, but it now appears that there is no way to hide the fact that he might be coping with a family issue, that neither stardom nor riches can remedy the public's response as the day's people are demanding truthful answers, and the scope of the Jim Jones's relationship with his son is becoming increasingly strained. Will he continue to support his son? To protect his professional reputation, it remains to be seen if his committed supporters will either support him throughout difficult times or abandon him. But one thing is certain: the fire that Jim Jones's son's incarceration has stoked is far from extinguished, and it will only become more flammable by the as further information concerning Jim Jones's son's arrest becomes public. The scenario grows increasingly complex. It's no longer just a simple arrest. It's about an entire corporation falling, and the public's response has let us take a closer look because the consequences are already being felt outside of the music industry and the Jim Jones family. Are there any legal implications to this issue not yet aware of? We must first address widespread rumors of potential Jim Sutton may suffer legal consequences, according to anonymous sources, before we can respond to substantial accusations that might. Is it possible to bring down an entire network of people and go beyond a single arrest? Is there a conspiracy going on that the public isn't aware of, or is everything a setup? Well, that's simply the problem. Some individuals believe that this could be beginning of Jim Jones's collapse. Credible anonymous sources claim that Jim Jones could lose his whole music brand, according to authority insiders, has been under investigation for months for a range of other suspicious activities, many of which may have been tied to his son's behavior beyond simple street. Jim Jones may be at the center of unlawful conduct in the music industry. The entertainment industry is no stranger to scandals, but the largest Jim Jones, who founded his economic empire, projecting an image of a robust guy with a heritage, will be the subject of questions. Under threats from federal investigators, his background has been linked to suspicions of everything from narcotics trafficking to money laundering, and his son's imprisonment has now enhanced awareness of, contrary to popular opinion, This will not just be ignored, let's be honest for a moment. This relates to the essential tenets of hip-hop industry. The entertainment industry would be shocked if Jim discovered to have engaged in any illicit activity. The hip-hop community has heard accusations about collusions with suspicious individuals, criminal deals, and dirty money. But the truth is, will it all fall, like so many other renowned families? Before it, the audience may seek clarification, so Jim and his son can clarify the breadth of this rabbit hole. There may be serious legal consequences if the issue becomes a full-fledged scandal. Federal investigators are looking into everything from tax fraud to international connections, and all from popglimpse.poly.